Hey y'all, this is David, the Georgia photographer, and today I'm in Scottsboro, Alabama. The reason I'm in Scottsboro is because I've got a bad tooth. See, right when the whole coronavirus thing started, I don't remember what I was eating. I think I was eating almonds, and I bit down on one of them, and the corner of a filling broke off of one of my molars in the back of my mouth. And it doesn't hurt, but I don't want to wait till it starts hurting to have it addressed, because then it's even more invasive work to repair it than it is to just fix it now. So, of course, there was no getting a dentist appointment at that point. So now we're finally able to open some stuff up. I'm sitting in the waiting room. Yeah, this is the waiting room. When it comes my turn, they're going to come out here and take my temperature, and then they're going to walk me inside, and he's going to fix my bad tooth. At that point, I got some free time in Scottsboro for several hours before I have to be back in Trenton. Scottsboro, me. As I was saying, it was false alarm. They were wanting the people in the car next to me. Okay. I've got several hours over here in Scottsboro before I got to be back in Trenton. So what I want to do is I have, it's in the back seat. Let me get it out. What I have is I have this little Rollei brand lens that John Van Veen sent me from Canada. So what I'm going to do today is, I cheated. I bought an adapter. I'm going to take this purchased adapter and I'm going to put it on my XT3, and I'm just going to give it basically the David Saylor's real world review on an XT3 video. And I'm going to take a bunch of photos around Scottsboro. And let's see. I'm back again. Second false alarm. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Rollei 50mm, and I'm going to go around Scottsboro after I get done with my dentist appointment. Yeah, I keep having to look because the nurses come out and call us in one at a time. And I'm gonna get some photos with it. I'm gonna try to get some with it stopped down, some with it wide open, and I'm just gonna do my best to kind of ring it out on the XT3 today. Now, bear in mind, whenever I review one of these vintage lenses on the XT3, it's kind of giving the lens an unfair advantage, because a lot of times these lenses have issues in the corners. They'll be soft in the corners, or they'll have vignetting, or wide open especially, or they'll have chromatic aberration and it shows up worse in the corners, things like that. But with the XT3 being crop sensor, I'm just cutting the middle out of the circle of projection this lens produces, so it kind of makes the lens look like about a 75mm without all those artifacts, so the lens will actually produce better photos. All right, up to this point, I've shot everything at f1.8 except the corner stores, which I've stopped down to f5.6 at this point. Lens looks to shoot really well wide open. All these buildings are boarded up, I'm assuming for the protests that are happening. It's a kind of a normal thing, I guess, but they're open. These stores are open. A lot of times these are constructions and you'll see stuff like that. But if I step right here, I get out of the wind. But yeah, it's real windy here today. But I'm gonna walk around the square, explore a little bit, and take some more photos. So far, I actually kind of like the lens. The rubber ring on the aperture ring slips, so I have to kind of grab it at the front edge to drive it. The ring is loosened up over the years, but other than that, it's working perfectly. Well, I've walked around the square with it. The little lens seems to be shooting really well. To kind of go over the specs, it's minimum focus distance. Let's see here. Let me spin it around and tell you. The minimum focus distance is 1.5 feet, maybe just a touch less. Yeah, it says 0.45 meters. And of course, the aperture is f1.8 to f16, which is pretty normal for lenses of this period. It's about 2 inches diameter, 1 3/4, 2 inches long. I've got it on a Photocy QBM to FX adapter. The front element does move in and out as you focus. It's not an internal focus lens. My particular copy is made in, I think, the Philippines, no, Singapore. So far, I kind of like it. It's a great little lens. I'm struggling to find stuff to photograph on the square, though. It's kind of tough. All right, I'm gonna try to find some smaller detail stuff to photograph with it and get some stuff up close as well. I took a lot of distance shots, and now I really need to get something closer in. So let's see if I can find something like that. All right, we're back home, and it's because I didn't get any more video footage while I was in Scottsboro. Once I got done doing the photos that you saw, I went ahead and got in the truck, and I started just kind of looking for photo opportunities on the drive home, and I almost stopped and got a really cool bridge photo, but there really wasn't anywhere for me to pull off, and I didn't want to have to walk the half a mile back to the location because it was really hot, so I let it go. It's still there. I'll go back on another day and get that shot. But I stopped at a couple of places on the way home, and I got some pretty cool photos, and I'll show those at the end. But to be honest with you, it's got like a little 6-bladed aperture. The aperture is pretty smooth. Between f11 and f16, it doesn't have a lot of change, and I would thought that it would close down a lot between 11 and 16, but at 11, it's a pretty small aperture as it is, you know, so it just doesn't look like it's making, it doesn't look like it move all that much, hardly at all. It closes down a little bit more, but it just doesn't look like it closes down at f16. Maybe I'm seeing it wrong, but the rest of the stops work perfectly. I shot it at a variety of apertures today. I tried basically all of them at one point or another, just playing with depth of field and trying to get it to do just different things. It should make really interesting little 6-pointed sun stars since it has a 6-bladed aperture in it. I don't, it was too bright. I may try it tonight and see what'll come of it, but it's a really interesting little lens. Rollei, is known for the Rolleiflex cameras, and the SLR division of their cameras ran a long time, but it never really succeeded. It was kind of one of those deals where it was like at the wrong place at the wrong time in the industry, and it just never took root, and they just never did anything serious with their 35mm SLR cameras. And the history is all over the internet about them. It's a pretty interesting history. They got bought by Voigtlander, and then when Voigtlander bought them, they moved the operation to Singapore immediately. That's where this lens was made. The very early ones are made at the Voigtlander plant in Germany, but those are very rare, and apparently most of those are M42 mount too, so it's okay. This is a really good lens. It's got really clean optics. I cleaned it up before I started today real good because it had some fingerprint smudges and stuff on it from where it had been handled and things. But yeah, it's an interesting little lens, and if you can pick one up, for reasonable money, then yeah, it will make you a great little nifty 50 to bang around with. It gets good photos. It does have some purple fringing in bright sun, especially shot wide open. I was shooting at f1.8 trying to see if it would do it, and there's a few of the photos that, like this one, you can see the fringing around the top of the building. It just shows up in bright sun with f1.8 apertures. It's part of the game with vintage glass, especially planar designs. It's a low element count, and they really can't do a lot with shifting color bands back in place if you don't have a lot of elements to do all that work with. So that's how it works. If you have any questions about it, drop them in the comments. John, I appreciate you sending the lens down. And if y'all have anything you need to ask me about it, I'm here. So with that, I'm David, the Georgia photographer. Until I see you next time, get your camera out and go take a picture with it, all right? We'll see you later.